So welcome and hello everyone to today's session. We are going to continue our Coalesce Transformation Talks, and today I want to focus on satellites with you. So this is my demo environment that I've been using before. Maybe it's already known to you or familiar to you. And today we are going to focus on how to build a satellite here. And I want to use the supply data. And let's have a quick look into the supply data, what we have in there. We have a supply key, which is, I guess, a unique ID that is, continuing. Then we have the name and address right here. We don't have clear names. We have something like supplier and a number behind that. And we also have an address that might be encrypted here. And then we also have a nation key, which we can use for a link. And then also we have phone number, account balance, and comment. And what I am going to do, or what I want to work on, let's say we have a real world scenario here. We have clear names in the name column. So for example, you would say something like John in there or similar. And you would also have the addresses in there, the address of John or Joe. And for that case, you want to make sure that this is a bit more protected. And what we are going to do for that is we're going to build our satellites, and we're going to have a satellite split. I'm going to take the name and the address and put that into a private satellite. And we're going to put the rest of the descriptive data here that we want to work with into a non-private satellite. So let's get started. What do we have to do first? We have our source data available here. And the first thing we do is we create a stage. Because on the stage, we then can create the hash keys, the hash diffs, that we need to continue working with the satellites. So let's right click on the supplier, go over here, add node, and start with the stage. Yes. And then the first thing we do in here, like I was saying, the supplier key, we can use that for the hub or the hub hash key. I'm not going to build the hub here. We have another video on how you can build your hub. But what I need for the satellite is the hub hash key. So we choose the supply key here and click on generate hash column. And then we call it HKH supplier, which is then basically the hash key for the hub. And we're going to use the name and the address here and create a hash column for the private satellite. And we're going to call it HD for hash diff supplier _ PS. And I'm also going to put that to the top. And then also for the non-private satellite, we are going to do the same with the phone, account balance, and comment. So let's select these and generate a hash column again. And similar to before, I'm going to rename it to HD supplier _ this time it's NS. And we're also going to put this to the top. And basically now we have our stage ready. What we are going to do now is we are going to create it. Let's check the config. Config looks good. Let's create the stage. Okay, that worked. We can see it created a stage view here, and we can also fetch the data to see what we have. We have all of our descriptive data, or all the data from our source in here. And we also have the hash columns here, the hash key, the two hash diffs. And also we have two new columns. This is the LDTS and the record source. The LDTS basically tells you when the data was loaded from the source. So in this case, it's the time right now. We also have the record source column, which is basically, it's like a technical column which helps you in debugging, knowing and understanding where the data is coming from. Okay, but since we have this prepared, we can continue. And now let's start by creating our first satellite. And as you can see, it's similar as before. I right click on the stage, I choose add node, and then I choose the satellite out of the package. And then let's rename this. You can see there's already a name automatically being added here. Also, so far so good. Only thing we add here is the P, and we can also add the S. Maybe I'll just keep it with the P, because we know this is a satellite from the beginning here. And for the privacy of the private satellite, all the things I need is the hash diff. That is what I want to keep in here. The hub hash key as well. So I know which hub entry or to which supplier all this descriptive data belongs to. And I am also going to keep the name and address. So, and the two technical columns here in the end. So the other columns, account balance column, comment, nation key, I can delete here. And also, since here we already have the hash diff, I can also delete this other hash diff, so that now we have the, this also has to go. So now we have the hash key for the hub, we have the hash diff, we have the two descriptive data columns, name and address, and also we have the load date timestamp and the record source. So now let's check our node properties and also the data vault configs. We have to choose the hub hash key here and also the hash diff so that it works properly. And now let's create our satellite. Okay, you can also see this is the create statement for the satellite in case you want to look into that in detail. And now we're going to run this. So we are loading the data into our satellite. And as we can see, the data has been loaded into the satellite. We have the two hash columns here. We have the name, the address, and the two columns here in the end, LDTS and record source. Looks good. So now we're going to do the same for the non-private satellite. So same as before, we're going to add a node on top of the stage, and we're going to choose the V0 satellite again. And as you can see, it's being created here, and also the name is being added. And this time I put the N here, not the P. So, and this hash diff can go, the key here as well, this one as well, this one as well. I'm going to keep the other columns in here. So basically similar to the other satellite, just that I do it the other way around. I'm keeping the other columns. Okay, hash key is in there, hash diff and the descriptive data, and then the node properties again, and also the data vault config. So now let's create the satellite and also run it. Okay, and also here now we can see the satellite was created. And we can see our descriptive data in there, the phone number, account balance, comments, and also that we have the hash diff and the hash keys in here. And now on top of that, on the V0 satellite, we also want to create the V1 satellites. I'm going to tell you in a second why and what the benefit of that is. But let me first show you. What we're going to do now is we right-click on the V0 satellite, and we choose to add a node again, and we choose the V1 satellite in here. And as you can see, already automatically Coalesce is adding the name again, similar to how the V0 satellite was, just changing it to V1. And we get all the columns from the V1 satellite. So the hash key, hash diff, the descriptive data, LDTS record source. And now also what we get in here is a EDTS, which stands for load end date timestamp, which basically describes for one column, since you're having a satellite, you are generating a history in Data Vault. So you can have multiple entries for one hub hash key, and these can, over time change from the descriptive data, or the descriptive data can change, and you want to track this in here. This is why you have the load end date timestamp, so that you know, okay, this entry was valid from this time to this time, and there's always one record that is the latest, and this one is then being shown with, you can also see that in the load date. In the timestamp here, I will show you that in a second. And also, we have the is current flag or is current column, which also identifies exactly that, which one is the current row and the latest entry basically that is valid. So, but let's check the node properties again. I need to change this here. options. We're going to create this as a view on top of that. And data vault, we need to configure the hash key column, similar as before. And now we are going to create the v1 satellite. And you can see, went through, you can see the SQL code here again. And let's fetch the data. And now what you can see, it looks similar to the v1 satellite, just that you also have two more columns in here, the EDTS and the is current. And as you can see, like I was saying, there's always one valid entry here that is the current one. And you can identify that first by the LEDTS, which is basically the latest possible date here. And then also, of course, over the is current flag that is set to true. Yes, and that's how it looks. Looks good. And now we are going to do the same again for our private satellite here. So again, add node, go to our package, and add the v1 satellite. And you can see name is automatically generated, and the columns are also automatically added here. And now let's check the node properties that we set it correctly here. Options stays like that. Pre-post SQL we don't need to configure. And then also data vault config. We need the hash key column here to set that. And then we can click on create. And create statement went through. We can fetch the data. And as you can see, similar as before, the satellite has been created and we have the LEDTS and the is current flag here again. So that you always know, okay, this entry is the current one and we can use that later in your information mart, your business vault or similar to filter over these two flags so that you always have the latest entry. But basically that is the way on how you create satellites in Coalesce using the package Data Vault for Coalesce. I hope you got a great impression on how to do that. Then I would say thank you for watching this video. Make sure you comment and subscribe. Also like this video. Of course, always, if you have any questions, let us know. We are willing to reach out to you or answer your questions. And besides that, if all of that still seems a bit complicated and you think, okay, Data Vault, I've heard that before and now I have an impression on how to build a satellite, but you think, okay, why do I need a satellite and how does all this modeling work? We also have the Data Vault Handbook. There you have a bit more information and also explanation on how you implement Data Vault. Thank you for watching today's video and hope to see you soon in one of our other sessions.